Hi everybody, happy Sunday. Charles Cox back with you here at the Flight Sim Guy, and these are the new digs here in Gig Harbor, and we'll be flying out of Tacoma Narrows Airport. That's KTIW. I haven't forgotten my friends at Boeing Field, and I'll still be back there for proficiency at Galvin flying, but this is my home now, and I'll be excited to show you around. We're doing a little bit of business today. As you know, I've been studying for my instrument rating, and I'm happy to say I've completed the end of course at Galvin Flying, and now we're just scheduling the IFR Checkride. It's good practice as you wait for that check ride to not just sit around. You want to be staying proficient all you can. Of course, that means flying the real deal as much as you can. If you can't do that, then you want to be flying an approved simulator with an instructor. And if you can't do that, well, maybe that's what a home sim is for. Of course, you can't do everything, and it isn't legal to log time in your home simulator, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn and stay proficient with the things you need to do, especially with Pilotedge Live ATC, which is what we're going to do today. Why don't we talk a little bit about what this is going to look like? So, the standards that govern whether you're going to pass your check ride or not are the ACS, the Airman Certification Standards. And while they are a very complex document owned by the FAA, and you can look it up and read it all you like, it's not exactly digestible. So what I have here is I have Galvin's stage check guides, and stage 3, which is all the way to the far right, is the end of course check requirements. It's a good proxy for what you're going to get in the check ride. So we'll do the flight portion today, and maybe not all of it. We'll sort of select what we're going to do. As you can see, it's a pre-flight briefing, flight deck management. It says taxiing instrument check is not checked, but we're going to do one anyway. Before takeoff check, systems and equipment malfunctions. We'll go ahead and leave that off today. No malfunctions today. Slow flight, no, we're not doing that. The check ride actually I don't believe has you do that. Power off and power on stalls. Steep turns, again, those are not required, I believe, in the IFR check ride, but Galvin does do them. We're not going to do those today. Radio communications, yes. Nav-8 and GPS communications, yes. We're not going to do unusual attitude recoveries. I do believe they require that on the check ride, but we won't do that today. Partial panel instrument flying, we can give that a try today. Magnetic compass turns, nope, we won't do that today. We'll do one hold. We're not going to fly an arc today. We will do one GPS and one localizer-based approach. We'll do the GPS approach precision, that's LPV, and we'll do the localizer approach, which is a non-precision approach. Approach without primary flight instruments, that'll be our partial panel. We'll do the partial panel. Approach to circling minimums, so we'll use the localizer approach to circle, and then we'll do a missed approach procedure. One of ours is going to go missed. So let's take a look real quick at our situation in the air with weather, because we're going to be using live weather like we always like to do. So this is Sky Vector. Here's our home of Tacoma, KTIW. So, first things first, winds 213, gusting to 20 knots. Woof, gusty. 10 statute miles, though, and clear. There's a 4 centigrade separation between the temperature and the dew point. Looks pretty good. Altimeter 3018, high pressure. Peak wind was 220 at 26, and that was at 1620 hours. So that was about, what was that? 8:20 a.m. this morning, so the time now is 9:30, so it was about an hour ago that we hit peak wind out there. What we're going to do is we're going to go fly up to Bremerton National. You notice here that there's no dot. The data link that provides Bremerton's weather is not functioning, so we'll have to pull that weather from the radio, if we have it, or just from the Microsoft Flight Simulator, which may or may not be simulating the wind over there. Interesting. Going to be a little bit of a going to be a little bit of an interesting deal there. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to choose 2 different approaches to Bremerton National. I'll go ahead and show you in game what we're going to do, because I don't think we can get the plates here with Bremerton not reporting. Yeah, look at that. It doesn't really work. Huh. Strange. Let's get in the aircraft, and new camera angle here, so you can kind of see everything that we got going on in my virtual cockpit. I'll be using my checklist today as part of the flying. It's something I need to be doing a little bit more of, so they tell me. Let me go ahead and pop open the tablet, and we'll do a little bit of talking about our instrument flight procedures. We're going to take off from Tacoma Narrows. Let me go ahead really quickly, and devices on. Maps, there we go, mount dots at KTIW. We're going to take off KTIW, probably got to take off runway 17. We'll go ahead and do the standard instrument departure out of KTIW, which is the Narrows 1. And I'll go ahead and plate that up real quick. So the Narrows 1 departure has us taking off runway 17, climb runway heading until 1500, then right turn heading 250, maintain 2000, expect filed altitude 5 minutes after departure, expect radar vectors to assign route. So we're actually going to be filing direct to PWT because, I mean, we're talking about 14 miles between the two, right? Not a big deal. But we are going to fly the standard instrument departure. It's an important part of what we do. And we should line up then for one of the approaches into KPWT. Let's take a look at which there are. We've got the localizer runway 20, so that's going to be landing southwest, or we have the RNAV 02, which is going to be landing northeast. Now you see that that can start at the Olympia, or it can start at Zolji. I think we're going to go ahead and start at Zolji. Let me go ahead and clear those annotations so you can see the plate just a little bit better. Take a look here. Where is Zolji? Zolji's right there. So we're going to go ahead and take off. We're going to do the Narrows departure. You know, we're flying heading 250, right? Does that look like 250 to you? It doesn't look like 250 to me. Heading... Yeah, it's like heading 250, a little bit like this. We'll expect probably to go direct Zolji. We'll be given direct Zolji, and then set up for the RNAV runway GPS 2. Now you see here at 6,000, 4,000 is the altitude. I'm going to try to file. I'll file 4,000, and we'll see how that goes. That's a westbound travel, so 4,000 is an even numbered altitude plus 0, so that's standard altitude. We're going to fly west, so 4,000 is what we'll file. We'll file direct KPWT. We'll set up for the RNAV GPS runway 2. We're going to use LPV minimums. We have a WAS-equipped aircraft, so we can come down to 772. That's going to be our altitude once we reach the final approach fix, which is Zolji on the way back. So let me walk you through this. We're going to head this way. We're going to go to Zolji. I'm going to do let's call it a parallel entry. It's a hold, move, and procedure turn because it is required going this direction. We'll stay at 4,000 or whatever we're cleared by approach. We'll then come back. Zolji on the way back becomes our final approach fix. We can then, oh, excuse me, that's not true at all. That's the initial approach fix, Zolji. We can come down to 2,100 feet, cross CBOD, the final approach fix at 2,100. At that point, the glide path should be alive on our GPS RNAV LPV mode. We'll be looking for that on our HSI. And then we'll activate a couple approach. We'll come on down, and it'll be 772 will be the altitude we're looking for. It's a minimum. It's a decision altitude, which means that once we come down to 772, if the runway environment is not in sight, we immediately go missed. That's the end of it. If it is in sight, then we go ahead and continue for landing. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to fly this approach missed. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and fly this approach missed. Let's try that. Just thinking that through again. With the wind being what it is, 200 and pretty heavy. What do you think? You think we should go circle? We should probably circle. Let's try again. Let's replan this. RNAV, GPS runway 2. We're going to start at Zolji, like I said. We're going to do circling. Why? Because we want to do circling practice. So we're not going to use an LPV. We'll do circling minimums of 1160. So that means we do a hold and loop procedure turn, just like we said we were going to do. I'm going to come in here, Zolji, and then back. Once we cross Zolji coming in, we'll descend to 2100 to CBOD. But instead of activating the LPV and the coupled approach, we'll fly down to our circling minimums of 1160, 1160. We'll then circle at 1160. If we see the runway, we'll go ahead and maneuver to enter the pattern. Now, if we look on our VFR charts, KPWT says right pattern runway 2, but it doesn't say right pattern runway 20, so that means it's left pattern. So we would deflect to the left. This is downwind, this is base, this is final for runway 20. So that's going to be circling. Now at that point, I am going to go missed. So we'll circle, and then we'll zoom off the runway and go missed, climb to 1200, and then climbing right turn to 4000, direct Zolji and hold. And then we'll come down on what should we do? What if we then pick up the ILS, runway 20? We're at Zolji, so we would probably be asked to go to WUMOX and do a procedure turn, outbound 152, and then come back in, and we'll land full stop at Bremerton. So that's gonna be that. Did you follow that? That's gonna be the RNAV runway 02, circling to runway 20, missed to hold at Zolji, and then we will ask for the ILS runway 20 starting at WUMOX, and then we'll come in on ILS, and then we'll do a full stop landing at Bremerton. Sound okay? I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget. Okay. All right, we got some work to do. Let's get on to it. All right, KTAW, KPWT, procedure, approach to KPWT, RNAV 02, Zolji, add to route, procedure departure, narrows 1, add to route. Okay, looks good. We'll file for 4,000. Don't do this in the real world, folks. Alright, and let's go ahead and go over to Chrome real quick. We'll do our flight, file our flight plan. IFR, me. I don't think so. Direct. Alrighty. I told him I wanted the narrows one departure. Okay, we're filed. Make sure we're back here in the game. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Master on. And we're doing our pre-flight here. Flaps. Lights, pitot heat, check. Lights are good. That beacon is flashing real nice. Alright, checking fuel, that looks good. Pressure volts, vacuum. Okay, lower, good. We're going to check our avionics buses. Bus 1, I can hear the fan. Bus 2, I can hear the fan. Okay, alternate air. Okay, fuel selector both. Shut off is in. Mixture is, let's go ahead and do that lean cutoff. We're going to push the throttle forward 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to go ahead and shut all that pre-flight nonsense off. Alright, let's keep those brakes on. And we're going to prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lean and prime off. Alright. Clear on the left. Clear on the right. Clear prop.
Clear prop.
That's what I said. And smoothly push that mixture richer. Alright, we have a good light off. Starter disengaged. Let's go ahead and bring that RPM up to 1100. Make sure we can pull the oil temperature up the peg. Pressure looks good. Flaps are going up. Alright, flaps are responding. Alright, very good. And departure, let's go ahead and call... excuse me, avionics on. And we'll go ahead and turn our nav lights on. Okay, make sure we've done everything we needed to do. Prop, magnetos, mixture. Okay, we're going to bring the mixture back a little bit. Lean it out for the ground. And amps are positive, battery is charging, pressure's looking good, temperature's off the peg. We'll bring that RPM down to 1000. Good. And we'll call 12405. Oh, I need to connect to Pilotedge.
Pilotedge connected.
We still might not hear anything. 3018, ILS 17 in use, and departing runway 17. Alright. Let's go ahead and get our plate out. 3018. Does that look right for the field? Field elevation is 295. Yep, that looks right. And secondaries are set. And we're going to set runway heading 17 on our bug. And we're going to set 2000 as our initial altitude, because that's the top altitude of the departure. Okay. Alright, we got ATIS, alt, and heading are set. Let's go ahead and pick up our clearance to Bremerton. We'll use 122.2.
November 886 Kilo Hotel, turn left heading 010.
Left 0106 Kilo Hotel.
Tacoma clearance, good day, Skyhawk 6378 Mike. Looking to pick up our IFR to Bremerton.
November 6378 Mike, Seattle approach, standby.
Alright.
November 6378 Mike, clear to the Bremerton Airport via direct. Maintain 4000. Departure frequency 120.4, squawk 2044. Hold for release.
Say again, transponder code for 6378 Mike.
2044.
Clear to the Bremerton Airport via direct. Climb maintain 4000. Departure frequency 120.4, squawk 2044. Hold for release, 6378 Mike.
November 6378 Mike, read back correct. Advise number 1 for departure.
Will advise, 78 Mike. Alright, squawk and alt. Let's go ahead and get our code online. 2044. Okay, squawking. And we're gonna go ahead and put up 120.4. I usually put this on COM 2. That's gonna be, there we go. And we're gonna keep 122.200 on that. We're gonna put Tacoma ground 121.8.
November 886 Kilo Hotel, 7 miles from Zixip, turn left heading 30.
There we go, and then Tacoma Tower 118.5. Very nice. Okay, we didn't get the Narrows 1 departure, so basically we're gonna take off. We're gonna call departure, and we're gonna let them know that we're climbing 4000, and then we'll be expecting vectors. We'll give them our approach request. Thinking about it for a second, maybe it's a good idea, considering how close we are to Bremerton, to dial up Bremerton weather while we're thinking about it. Wouldn't that be a good idea? And we want the RNAV 02, and weather's 1212. Yeah, not surprised. We're not getting any weather there. But you know what? I'm just gonna call their AWAS 360-674. Talk about worlds colliding, huh? Okay. Ooh.
November 86 Kilo Hotel, contact Boise Tower 118.1.
Tower for 6 Kilo. Boise Tower, Centurion 886 Kilo Hotel is in
Now look at that.
approach over
What do you think
28
about
right.
that? Pretty cool, huh?
Followed by a full
November 86 Kilo Hotel, Boise Tower, runway 28 right, clear to low approach, report missed approach.
Gonna turn com 2 off, and we want to get back to Tacoma Narrows weather, so we're gonna do 1218. There's ground, and then tower is gonna be 118.5. There is a tower here at Tacoma Narrows, but not in Pilotedge. So we'll treat it as an untowered airport. And we're going to line up number 1 for departure, and we're going to get going. Okay, 1218, before we taxi out, let's make sure our pre-taxi checklist is complete. Avionics switches on, radios and transponder are set. 80 salt and heading, yep. Standby instruments, let's make sure those are looking good. I'll turn the tablet off for you here. Alright, 0 erect and set for the field. Flaps retracted, yep, flaps are up. We'll go ahead and test our brakes on the go. Lights is required, nav on. Taxi lights are on, nav lights are on. Before taxi checks are complete, I'll go ahead and swing around to the right. And off we go. I'll go ahead and get our plate out here for KTIW. And as you'll be able to see, let that guy go. We're on COM 1 Mike. Tacoma ground, Skyhawk number 6378 Mike, North Park, taxi 17. Do a little crosswind control here. Taxi no faster than about 12 knots. Very, very important. Don't be a speed demon out there. And making sure as we go, we're going to make this left turn here, and you're going to watch. You're going to see we want to make sure the HSI moves. It does. We want to make sure rate of turn indicators in the direction of turn, the ball slips opposite. It does. So the instruments are good for our attitude and rate of turn and slip, so that's good. And we'll be testing our brakes. We're going to go into the box here, do a quick run up.
Approaching runway 17.
Alright. Looking good, we're in the box. Let's go ahead and do our controls wipe out. Okay, full deflection left, full deflection aft, right, full deflection forward, left, center the ailerons, center the elevator, waggle that rudder. Alright, good. Controls are free and correct. Feels pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just pop the parking brake on for a sec so I can get my feet a rest. Okay, let's go ahead and richen that mixture, and we're going to go to 1800. Perfect. Alright. Left. And that's a drop of 120. Back to both. We should see it go back up to 1800. That's pretty close. And right. 110, 120, that's fine. We're looking for less than 150 and less than 50 RPM difference between the two drops. And we're back up. Pressure, temperature are good. Fuel flow is good. VAC is good. Positive amps on the battery. Plenty of fuel. Go ahead and pull that RPM all the way back to a nice stable idle. Listen to make sure it doesn't run rough. Feels pretty good. Rock over London, rock on Chicago. Wheaties Breakfast of Champions. Alright, back to RPM 1000. Okay, let's go ahead and get our flight plan set up. That's the next thing that we do. Flight plan. Origin. And I use my keyboard for this. That's a nice little trick. KTIW, and we know we're doing runway 17. Enter. We're going direct, so there's no en route. KPWT. Bremerton National. Enter. And we're going to put runway none for the moment. Great, flight plan is set. Procedure, we know we're not doing a standard instrument departure, so we'll do select approach into KPWT. And we're going to ask for the RNAV 02, starting at Zolji. And minimums, you and I already talked about this. The approach for the RNAV 02 is the circling minimums 1160. So I'm going to go ahead and set minimums. And I apologize in advance for how long it takes to spin this little thing. Okay, 1160. All looks good to me. We'll load. Okay, we'll hit flight plan. We'll turn that off for a second. Let's range out a little bit so we can see what we're expected to do here. Now in flight plan mode, we can kind of zoom in on the basic pieces of it. There you go. You see there's Zolgi, and that's a parallel entry. We're going the opposite direction of the inbound, and we turn back and hit the inbound, and that's our hold and move procedure turn. So we'll cross at whatever altitude they give us, but they've told us to climb 4,000 feet. We're going to reset our altitude bug to 4,000, which is what we've been expected to do. We're going to fly runway heading. We're going to continue to climb. We're going to call departure. They're going to give us vectors. We're going to ask for the RNAV 02 starting at Zolgi. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and tell COM2, we're going to tell Seattle Approach, we're number 1 for departure at KTIW, holding for release. We'll get our release to get out of here, and then we're going to fly. And we're going to get a void time, so I'm going to put that up there. Put that on. You can pop the tablet open here. Seattle Approach Skyhawk 6378 Mike is number 1 for departure at Tacoma Narrows, holding for IFR release.
November 6378 Mike, released for departure, clearance void if not off within 5 minutes from now, frequency change to advisory approved.
6378 Mike, released for departure, clearance void if not off in 5, frequency change approved, 6378 Mike. Alright, we're set to go, 5 minutes. Let's make sure that we did everything on our checklist. We did, yep, seat belts, cabin doors, yep, flight controls, trim set for takeoff, yes it is, that's good. We didn't do our electric trim test and autopilot tests. We don't have a lot of time, but we'll do it real quick. Okay, electric trim is working. We're going to go put autopilot on heading mode real quick. Autopilot on. Take a look here. Yes, it's turning. And there you go. I can override it. And we'll go heading the other way real quick. And autopilot on. Should turn to the right. Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Boom. We're done. Perfect. And we'll reset the heading bug to 170. Alright. And yeah, I've been off my 1804. Annunciators check. Throttle. Comm nav frequencies. Yes, they're set. FMS GPS CDI as desired. Yep, it's set. Magenta needles. Autopilot off. Transponder is set. Yep, lights. We're going to go ahead and turn lights on. Landing and strobes are on. And we're going to take the runway and get out of here. And we're going to go ahead and set the second frequency. COM2 is going to swap over, and that's going to be departure. So we're set there. I'm going to turn my parking brake off. And make sure we're transmitting COM1. Alright, we're looking good there. I'm going to go and come around and line up kind of 45 caddy to the runway so that I can look over and I can make sure that final is clear.
Approaching runway 17.
Okay, the approach end is clear. Tacoma traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike, departing runway 17, west departure, Tacoma. Alright, lights, yep, lights are required. Camera, that means we're squawking. And action, mixture is full rich, taking runway 17. Wind's just off our quarter there. So it's probably going to be quite a bit of right aileron and a lot of right rudder. Alright, we're looking for at least 2360 RPM. We have it. We have takeoff power. Alright, engine instruments are in the green. Airspeed is live, looking for 55 knots. And 55. Rotate. And some right rudder. And we're going to pitch for 10 degrees. Let's turn that flight director off. We're going to pitch for 10 degrees, and then we're going to pitch for 74 knots. Holding that runway heading. And, alright, we're going to go ahead and call departure. Seattle departure, Skyhawk, November 6378, Mike, 940 feet, climbing 4,000 feet.
November 6378, Mike, Seattle departure, ident.
6378, Mike, ident.
November 6378, Mike, radar contact 8 miles northwest of the McCord VOR, when able to request into Bremerton.
6378, Mike, we'd like the RNAV GPS runway 2.
Class Delta
starting
in
at
2.3
Zolci.
miles.
November 6378, Mike, roger, expect that.
Alright, we can expect that. We haven't been given it, but we can expect it. So we'll get initial vectors here in a minute. We're just going to go ahead and climb 4,000.
Big Sky approach, Centurion 6 Kilo Hotel with approach request.
Right at 6 Kilo Hotel, good.
I'd like to do the RNet Yankee 28 left via Gonzi, and for this will be a full stop.
Alright, well we were...
November 886, Kilo Hotel, roger, climb and maintain 7,000.
Climb maintain 7,000, 6 Kilo Hotel.
November 886, Kilo Hotel, fly heading 110, vectors for Gonzi.
110 for Kilo Hotel.
November 6378, Mike, clear direct Zolci, cross Zolci at 4,000, cleared RNAV runway 2 approach.
Cleared direct Zolci, cross Zolci at 4,000, cleared the RNAV GPS runway 2 into Bremerton, 78 Mike. Alright, so I'm going to hit procedure, and I'm going to activate the approach, just like that. Okay, make sure that it's showing Zolci as the initial approach, fix it is. 4,000, that's going to be our bug, so we're going to be turning standard rate turn, continuing that climb, climbing for 74 knots. We're going to fly the procedure turn, the hold in lieu of a procedure turn at Zolci. Now, since I wasn't given a standard instrument departure, I didn't have an initial vector. I was cleared via direct, but I wasn't given an initial vector
Double 1794, roger.
when I requested the approach. That's an interesting point. The question is, should I have turned direct to KPWT, and if so, when should I have made that turn? So I'm going to go look that up in a little bit. In the meantime, we have 100 feet to go until our assigned altitude, 4,000, so we're going to go ahead and let that nose come down. And I'm going to go ahead and hit nav and alt mode. And let the autopilot take over for a second. And let's go ahead and make sure that we do our cruise, our power now down to 2400. And trim as required, mixture lean as required. Okay. Okay, we're at a good RPM, so we're going to go engine, lean, and we're going to go ahead and lean it out. Watch that EGT come up now. And the RPMs are dropping. We'll go just rich of that. 8.3 gallons per hour. That's about right for the fuel flow. This is a slow flight. 88 knots ground speed, but we're making 106 indicated. Some serious winds aloft. As you can see, that's absolutely true. 24 knot headwind going this way. All right. Let's get the tablet up and show you what we're talking about here. Wow, this is a
November 66 Papa Bravo, contact Albuquerque Tower 120.3.
This is a lot of
120.6 Papa Bravo.
Let's clear that off. Bloop. There you go. Alrighty, so we're on our way to Zolji, and when we hit Zolji, we're going to
Albuquerque Tower number 66
parallel
Papa Bravo on final runway 8.
at 4,000. Cross Zolji, then we'll descend
November
down
66 Papa Bravo, Albuquerque Tower, runway 8, clear to land.
to 2100.
Runway 8, clear to land.
Cross Seabod, and then we'll descend
Double
to
1794,
circling.
contact NorCal approach 135.1.
We're going to circle like this, base, final, and then we're going to do a low approach and then go mist. And let's go ahead and make sure our plane's feeling like it needs to feel here.
NorCal approach, Southwest 1794, flight level 240, descending via friction free.
Okay, speed, altitude's
Southwest
good, heading
1794, NorCal approach, San Jose,
no
altimeter 3037.
and
Information
RPM
Yankee current, expect visual approach, runway 30 left.
400, flow, pressure, temperature,
3037, we have
good,
Yankee and
plenty of
expect visual
fuel,
approach 30
good
left,
fuel,
Southwest
positive
1794.
amps. Both in, mixture set for 4,000, flaps up, lights is required, batteries armed, keys both. Okay, plane is happy and healthy. Let's figure out the next piece. We're going to want to get on Unicom. It's a CTAF field, so we're going to want to get our advisory frequency pre-bugged for COM1 12305. Okay, we're bugged there. COM2 has got our departure set. We're listening on COM1. And when we're told to transition to, or we're told to switch to advisory frequency, then we'll just go to COM1. That'll be 12305, and that's Bremerton. And we'll stay on that when we're told to, and we'll contact approach again when we're flying the mist. Okay, that's it. Let's talk about the, let's go ahead and brief the approach mist procedures, which we have not done. We know that we do need to do the mist when we do the circling approach. So the mist procedures are climb to
Stockton clearance number 41376,
then
how do you
a
read?
climbing right turn 4,000 direct Zolji and hold. So this assumes that you'd be, you know, sort of doing
Calling NorCal approach, say again.
right turn.
It's November 41376 on the ground at Stockton. Let's pick up IFR over to Monterey.
Straight up climb to 1200 and then go direct from Zolji from here. So we're going right over.
November 41376, cleared to the Monterey Airport via the Modesto VOR, Victor 111,
when we hold
Salinas
at
direct,
Zolji,
maintain 6,000, departure frequency
then it looks
120.95,
like it would be
walk 5712, hold for release.
a teardrop entry. So it'd be a right turn back.
Alright, 41376 cleared via the Des VOR, Victor 111, Stellini direct, climb 6,000, 120.85, squawk 5712.
Alright, we're doing pretty good.
Okay, let's go over the route one more time just to make sure you understand it. Modesto VOR, Mike Oscar Delta, Victor 111,
Look at that out there.
Salinas VOR, that's Sierra, November Sierra, then direct Monterey Airport.
Okay,
And
8
the
miles
departure
to
frequency
Zolji.
120.95. Just read those back.
Alright, 41376 cleared the Des VOR, Victor 111, Stellinas via direct, and a 120.95 for departure frequency.
Okay, you're still saying the route very strangely. I'm not sure if you've gotten it. You're going to Monterey Airport via the Modesto VOR, Mike
Modesto.
Oscar Delta, Victor 111, Salinas, Sierra November Sierra, and then direct Monterey Airport after that.
Hey Roger, it's Mike Oscar Delta, Victor 111, Sierra November Sierra 41376.
41376, read back correct. Hold for release. Advise number 1 for departure. Change to advisory frequency approved.
Holding for release, will advise for departure
This guy's got a tough
41376.
job.
Walker 2049, contact Salt Lake Center 135.77.
Let me show you a clean plate, because I don't think I was showing you the plate before. Here's how it's going to go. We're going to do a parallel entry on Zolji. Turn back 4,000 feet. As soon as we cross Zolji, coming back the other way on heading 010,
Walker 2049, Salt Lake Center, roger.
Until we hit CBOD. Once we hit CBOD, that allows us to descend to circling minimums of 1160. 1160, okay? Now we're going to circle, which means as soon as we're down to 1160, we're going to look for the runway. If we see the runway, we're going to do right deflection
November
to enter
66 Alpha
left
Bravo,
traffic,
contact Albuquerque ground.
just like that. Now once we do that,
Over to ground 6
we're going to
Bravo.
do a low approach, and we're going to go mist. And going mist, climb to 1200, right? Then it says climbing right turn to 4000 direct. Yes, that'd be it if you're going straight in 02. We're just going to go direct Zolji as soon as we hit 1200 feet. Okay, I think we briefed the heck out of that. Holding at Zolji is just going to be a teardrop entry, I think. And we'll do one lap in the hold, and then we'll tell them we'd like the ILS runway 20 starting at WUMOX. That is what we'll do, and when we do the WUMOX ILS runway 20, that'll be a straight in full
Albuquerque
stop.
ground, November 66 Papa Bravo, request taxi to Atlantic.
Okay.
November 66 Papa Bravo, Albuquerque ground, taxi to Atlantic via Echo Charlie Foxtrot, cross the runway 21 approach under Echo, cross runway 30 Charlie.
All right, let's go ahead and start talking about our descent checklist right
Taxi to Atlantic via Echo Charlie Foxtrot, cross runway 21 at Echo and runway 30 at Charlie 6 Papa Bravo.
3019 is actually the ATIS at Bremerton. Fuel selector both and flaps as required. Okay, now we're 3 miles from Zolji. I'm going to go ahead and slow down. I'm going to slow the plane down to 90 knots. We're going to fly it at about 2100 RPM because we fly approaches in this plane at 90 knots.
1794 to center maintain 5000.
Center maintain 5,000, South of 1794.
All right, let's take a look at our MFD. See that there? Look, there's actually someone that's down below us. Looks like off to our left, 16. Where might they be? They look like they're kind of right over the river down there somewhere. Ah, there they are. Right there. Yeah, other traffic. How about that? Okay.
Papa 1794, contact NorCal approach 121.3.
We're looking for 90 knots.
121.3, South of 1794.
Okay, GPS, autopilot, alt 4,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and bug, as we start this approach, I'm going to go ahead and bug our next altitude is 2100 at CBOD, 2100.
NorCal approach Southwest 1794, descending to 5,000. We're at 11,500.
Need to be using my heading
Papa
bug.
1784, NorCal approach, San Jose altimeter 3037.
3037, 1794.
All right. Entering at Zolji. Go ahead and get my tablet up. You can kind of see what's going on here.
Salt Lake Center, Baron 1964 Bravos at Elko, Nevada. I'd like to
good.
pick up
90
my
knots
IFR clearance
indicated,
to
4,000.
Ogden, Kilo Oscar
Ground
Golf
speed's
Delta.
pretty low, 74.
November 1964 Bravo, Salt Lake City Center, clear to the Ogden Airport as filed. Maintain 13,000. Departure frequency
Okay, half a mile to
133.25. Squawk
We're looking good on
1665.
approach
Hold
speed.
for release.
This is the assigned altitude. we've got 12305 bugged.
Okay, clear to the Ogden Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 13,000. Departure frequency is 133.25, squawk 1665 and hold for release. Baron 1964 Bravo.
November 196 Bravo, read back correct. Advise number 1 for departure. Change to advisory frequency approved.
We'll go Baron 1964 Bravo.
November 886 Kilo Hotel, turn left heading 350.
Left 350, request 8,000.
You said request 8,000?
Yeah, I have to pass over frequency at 8,000.
The route segment from Gonzi is 6,800, I believe, right? I mean, if you need 8,000, that's fine. Climb maintain 8,000.
No, negative. I'll stay at 7,000. I see you're passing me into Nestle, so Kilo Hotel.
Number 886 Kilo Hotel, clear direct Gonzi, cross Gonzi at 7,000, cleared RNAV, Yankee runway 28, left approach.
Okay, clear direct Gonzi, pass Gonzi at or above 7,000, cleared for the ILS.
Looks good, fuel flow, good, pressure, temperature,
RNAV Yankee 28 left approach.
Quantity is still good, positive amps. Let's do our before landing checks. Okay, we're going to flow floor to door. That's going to be fuel, both. Fuel valve is in, mixture. Okay, we know we're going to need to enrich that.
1794, turn left heading 080, vectors to the field.
We're going to keep that.
Left heading 080, Southwest 1794.
Let's remember that. Flaps are up. They're going to be up until we cross the final approach fix. Then it's going to be 10 of flaps. Lights are as required for landing. Batteries on. Standby is armed. Keys are in. Seat belts fastened. Plenty of fuel. Before landing checks are complete, we're starting that left turn to come back into Zolji. This is this hold in lieu of a procedure turn. Right. So far, so good. Been listening on COM 1 here. Nobody's saying anything about Bremerton yet. So, unlike the real world, it's actually a very slow day at Bremerton with nothing going on. That's not what really happens at Bremerton. Okay, Zolji, then C-Bod, right? Make sure that's our expectations. Yep, that fits with our plate. That's correct. It's good to have the flight plan view up. You can see a lot, and one of the things that we can do is we can figure out how far we are from the runway, so when we're making our calls, we'll say we're...
Couple 1794, turn left heading 060.
South of...
left heading 060, and we have the field in sight, south of 1794.
Southwest 1794, splendid. Cleared visual approach, runway 30 left.
Splendid.
Cleared visual approach, southwest 30 left, south of 1794.
I like this guy. Alright. Outside air temperature 1 Celsius. We do have a little bit of precipitation. I think it's probably wise to put our pitot heat on, don't you? We don't need a pitot failure right now, do we? Okay, now with speed of 90 indicated, we're doing a ground speed of 95 knots, so you can see that things are very different. Now we have this left to right crosswind of 24 knots. It's a hell of a crab angle that we're holding. You can see we're holding heading 354, but our actual track is something more like 007. It's 008, actually, it says right there, our ground track 008 with a heading of 354. That is significant. Okay, and then a little bit of right turn to get on Zolji. We're going to cross Zolji here at 0.4 miles. As soon as we do that, then it's going to be 2100, descend to 2100. We're prepped for descent. Going to go ahead and push that mixture full rich. There we go. We're going to be coming on down. It's very important we do that. Now in our ops manual says we use vertical speed mode to make a descent. Whoa, what's going on here? Stop that. I didn't like what my autopilot was doing, so I just cut it the heck off. We're going to start our descent. We're going to fly that descent 1,900 feet, 2.5 degrees down. There you go, 2.5 degrees
Southwest
down.
1794, contact San Jose Tower 124.0.
A little bit more.
124.0, Southwest 1794.
I just really did not like the angle that autopilot was taking, so I just cut it off right away. Let's understand what's going on here with the intercept. and then we'll re-engage the autopilot when it makes sense. You can see the flight director.
San Jose Tower, Southwest 1794, visual 30 left.
Reactivate.
Southwest 1794, San Jose Tower, runway 30 left, clear to land.
There you go. Now,
runway 30 left, clear to land, Southwest 1794.
November 6378, Mike, report cancellation of IFR or missed approach in the air on this frequency or on the ground on 122.2. Change to advisory approved.
Change to advisory approved. 6378, Mike.
November 886, Kilo Hotel, contact Boise Tower, 118.1.
Okay, we're on COM 1 now. 120.4, we'll keep that in COM 2 because that's what we're going to call when we go missed. Let's make sure everything is set up the way we want it to be. We're going to CBOD 6.8 miles at 90 knots. That looks good. The RPMs are probably a little bit low. We're going to just goose it to about 1700. We're descending using the VS mode at a rate of 600 to 2100, which is the correct altitude for CBOD, which will hit in 6 miles. We're going to stay at 2100 until we cross CBOD, so that's good. The airplane is set up. Okay, let's continue our thinking ahead. So we're going to go ahead and get on COM 1. We're 123.5. That's set on our COM 1. That's going to be the Unicom for the field. So let's figure out how far we are away. So we're 6 miles from CBOD, and that's another 5 miles to the runway. So 6 plus 5 is 11 miles. We're actually 10.5 now, it looks like. So I'll just let folks know what we're doing. Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378, Mike's 10.5 south of the field on a straight-in runway 02. Correction, 10 miles south of the field on final runway 02. We will be entering left traffic for runway 20, Bremerton. Be thinking about what they need to know. Okay, we're just coming up on 2100 now. We're going to go ahead and bring our RPMs up to 2100 for that profile speed that we're looking for. Looking to set that RPM so we get 90 knots indicated. There you go. Looking pretty good. Hey Havlin, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Sounds like everything's coming through pretty bueno, so thanks for being on the program. All right, so okay, again, we'll go ahead and range in a little bit here so we can see a little bit more detail. So we're going to do CBOD, 2100 feet. Oop, we're a little slow. Let's go ahead and goose those RPMs to stay at 90 knots indicated. 3.5 miles to CBOD. Once we're at CBOD, we can descend down to our next minimums, which is 1160. So I'll go ahead and set the altimeter bug to 1200, right? We're going to go 1200. We'll call that our circling minimums. We'll stay at 1200, and we'll look up. Once we see the runway, we're going to deflect to the right. We're going to enter left traffic. We're going to spin around. We're going to go base, final, a low approach at 1200, and then we're going to climb. And remember, we have to climb to 1200. We're going to stay at 1200, so we'll climb to 1200, and then go direct Zolgi. That's our missed approach procedures. Now look, one thing I want to clear up here. So you can look at the HSI, and you can see right here it says LPV, right? And we want to talk about, hey, well, why are we not flying an LPV approach? Well, the reason that we're not doing that is because for the purposes of the ACS, we want to do a circling approach, and so even though we have LPV available, which would allow us to get down to 772, we're not going straight in on LPV. We're going to circle, and circling minimums are higher there at 1160. So LPV or not, we're not doing that. So we're going to fly just a step down fix down to 1200, stay at 1200, and then do our circle. So we're 1.3 miles to go to CBOD. We've done our pre-landing checks. That feels good. I'm going to do a quick check of our instruments here. So RPMs are good at 2100. Fuel flow, pressure, temperature are good. VAC is good. Positive amps, plenty of fuel, so that's good. And just making sure our checks look good here. Centered attitude, speeds at 90, altitude's 2100. Heading is 001 with a track looks like a 010, which is the correct track to CBOD. Now half a mile to CBOD. Once we hit CBOD, we're going to descend 1200. Again, we're going to go into VS mode. We'll descend at 600 feet per minute. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right turn. VS mode. Minus 600. Throttle comes back to 1900, more like 1800 in this airplane for whatever reason. We're looking to hold that speed of 90 knots on descent. All right, coming down. Now 4.5 miles. It's time to make another call. Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike, 4.5 south of the field on final runway 02. We'll be entering left traffic for runway 20, Bremerton. Looking good, sounding good. All right, LPV. It says LPV, but we're not doing LPV. Remember, we're doing circling minimums. 1200 is set here. Barometric minimums are set there. Right deflection to enter the pattern. It's going to be left, left, left on final. Going to low approach, and then off we go for the mist. Okay, so we'll talk about mist. Remember, mist is cram, full power, clean, cram, climb, full power, climb, clean, bring your flaps up.
2 mile
Click.
final runway 02.
Hit your suspend button and comms. Tell them you went mist, okay? Cram, climb, clean, click, comms. That's going to be your mist approach procedures. Okay, 60 feet to go until our until the CBOD altitude. Excuse me, we are at minimums. Wow, that happened fast, didn't it? And we didn't put our flaps down, did we? Nope, we didn't do that. Bad, bad us. The plane was not ready. All right, so eyes up. Yep, we can see the runway. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and deflect right, as we talked about. We're going to stay at 1200, stay at circling minimums. Whoa. Boy, I guess this simulation just like slows down when you actually start looking out the window, huh? All right, let's go ahead and get that RPM where we want it to be. We don't want to climb. We don't want to descend either. We want to stay at 1200. I'm just manually flying it now. And we're at 1.5 mile final. Staying 1200. Bremerton traffic, Cessna 6378 Mike, 1.5 south of the field, entering left traffic runway 20, Bremerton. All right. All right, flaps 10. I should have done that on the final approach fix, which was CBOD. I didn't do that, and that was not correct of me. Okay, now, what I like to do is, I like to stay a little closer. I like to stay a little closer to the field on the downwind when I'm circling in instrument conditions than I do in VFR conditions. VFR conditions is, you know, I like 3/4 of a mile is good. Here though, you never want to lose sight of the runway, so I'm keeping it at about 1/2 mile. So that's a particular point. Instructors are, you know, they have their own thoughts on what's correct, but this works for me. So, okay, I'm looking there. There's the numbers, 20. We're going to set the heading bug for 20. Should have done that a little bit ago. Now we're flying the reciprocal, so that's good. And we're a little high. We're 100 feet high on circling minimums there, so. And the elevation is 444, so we're 800 feet above touchdown. We'll go ahead and call in here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of simulate that we're actually landing here. So it's going to go flaps 20, return to base, make a call. Permanent traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike, turning left base, runway 20. We'll be doing a low approach and departing off to the south, Bremerton. All right, there we go, that's base. That was a pretty extended downwind. I think I probably could have tightened that up a little bit more. Again, you really don't want to be losing sight of the runway when you're in instrument conditions. Even if you've got visual, right? You know, it could be a day where visibility is not perfect, and if you stray too far from the runway, you lose it. Once you've lost it, it's gone. And that's a very dangerous place to be in instrument flying. All right, there we go. On final. Get those flaps to 30, push through.
500.
Okay, no traffic seen visually here.
500.
Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike's on short final, runway 20, due to low approach and then departing to the south, Bremerton. Okay, we're looking at 65 knots. That looks good. We're a little high, and we're coming in a little bit steep. I'm going to push a little bit of power here. Even though it shows 4 whites, that I just don't think that that's lined up correctly. There we go. That's looking good. I'll go ahead and push now. We're going to call that mist, low approach, going mist, cram, full power, climb, nose up, positive rate of climb, clean, flaps immediately, 1 right away, and up to 10. Pitch for 74, flaps up. We're going to go ahead and click. That's hit the suspend button. Bremerton traffic 6378 Mike on departure, departing to the south, Bremerton. Seattle approach, Skyhawk 6378 Mike going mist at Bremerton.
November 6378 Mike, Seattle departure, ident, and say altitude.
6378 Mike, ident, 1,300 feet, climbing 4,000 feet on the published mist from Bremerton.
November 6378 Mike, radar contact 20 miles west of Seattle Airport, and when able, say intentions.
Alright, so we're going to go 1,200 feet, yes, and then direct Zolji. We're 1,200 feet, so I need to hit flight plan.
November 6378 Mike, when able, say intentions.
6378 Mike, roger. We'd like to enter the hold at Zolji 1 lap, and then we'll have another approach request.
November 6378 Mike, roger. Expect further clearance 1845 Zulu, time 1833 Zulu, and just advise with your approach request when you're ready.
Expect further clearance 1845, we'll advise with our approach request 6378 Mike, thank you. And go direct Zolji, enter, boom, Zolji. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of strain off me, IAS mode, climb at 75, and nav on autopilot active. Whoa, that took a second. Oh, that took way too long. Okay, we have further clearance time 1845. We'll go ahead and call in with our intentions. Let's go ahead and range out so we can see what we're doing here. Well, wow, Zolji's a long way away here, and yeah, 12 miles to Zolji. So I don't necessarily think we have to do an entire lap in the hole, do you? But we're flying the mist, we're climbing, we're going direct Zolji. We've already talked to a Seattle departure. They know that they're expecting from us what we want, our intentions, and our intentions are going to be that we want a different approach. So we're going to ask
Albuquerque ground, November 7 Delta Juliet. Information Juliet. We're in the general aviation area and ready for taxi. Runway 8 for departure if possible.
Right now.
November 7 Delta Juliet, Albuquerque ground, runway 8, taxi via Golf Echo 1.
And then we're going to do an outbound
Golf
procedure
Echo 1,
turn,
runway
and then come
08,
back in
November
and
7
land
Delta Juliet.
using the ILS. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to be thinking about how we want to play this. The second that we change the procedure, the second that we muck around with the GPS unit in here, it's going to start messing up our whole procedure. So let's talk about what we want first, then we'll go and plug it in once we get the clearance. We'll plug it in once we get the clearance and initial vectors so that it doesn't mess up our nav too much. So zooming in here, and we'll turn on flight plan mode so you can see. There's the Zolji, the missed approach hold points right there. It looks like it's a teardrop entry. So you're going to go straight outbound Zolji, then right turn back in, and then cross Zolji, and then hold. So what we'll do is, as soon as we've entered and turned around and are on the approach inbound Zolji, we'll report inbound Zolji and tell them we have an approach request. All right, let's go ahead and slow the RPMs down. Right, we're done with the climb. We're in cruise again. We're at 4,000. So remember, what we want to do here, we want to take care of the airplane. So let's get the RPMs to 2,400. Okay, trim is good, pitch is good. We're where we want to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit engine, lean. We're going to lean again because we're up above 3,000 feet. So we're going to go ahead and bring that back. Watch those RPMs go up, watch the fuel flow go down, and then we watch for the RPM drop, and then we give it just a little bit more. Go rich of peak, 8.4 fuel flow at 2,400 RPM.
Excellent ground. Good. November 8351 Papa, IFR 2 Logan Cash with.
Okay, Zolji in 8 miles.
Number 835 Papa, Jackson ground, cleared to the Logan Cache Airport by the Alpine for departure, Idaho Falls, transition that as filed. Climb via SID, accept, maintain 16,000. Departure frequency 133.25, squawk 4623.
Okay, so
8351 Papa is clear to Logan Cache Airport, Alpine 4 departure, Idaho, transition data filed. Climb via SID, accept, maintain 16,000. Departure frequency 133.25, squawk 4623.
November 837 Papa, read back correct.
Is good, VAC's good, positive amps, positive volts. We have plenty of fuel left. That's feeling pretty good. No enunciators. We're flying 108 indicated, so we're on a miss. We probably should be holding at 90 knots. Given though it's a long way to Zolji, I'm kind of speeding things up. 4,000 feet, that's our assigned altitude. Same altimeter, 3019. I tell you what, might as well check in with weather again at Bremerton. We have a second, so let's do it. Let's go get our latest weather again at Bremerton. Let's see if you can hear them.
Number 196 for Bravo, climb and maintain 15,000.
3024. I want wind information. Okay. There you go. Did you hear that? And that was a good thing to do. Okay, Zolji down 3.7 nautical miles, so we're going to enter the hold at Zolji. As soon as we're inbound, we'll tell them our request. I'll get the tablet up and you can kind of see what I'm seeing here. So we're going to be holding at Zolji, and then we'll change the plate over and we'll ask for the ILS 20. They'll probably have us go direct WUMOX, and once we're on our way direct WUMOX, we can change everything. We can go ahead and change the plates, we can change the procedures in
Albuquerque Tower, November 7 Delta Juliet, Echo 1, ready for departure.
For flight and
November 7 Delta Juliet, Albuquerque Tower, runway 8, cleared for takeoff.
Okay, takeoff, runway 8, November 7 Delta Juliet.
Sorry about that, noteworthy. I was kind of hoping it would work out with the speakerphone going to the
2049, cross Rams at 17,000, 250 knots, the Centennial altimeter 2979er.
Okay, Zolji now coming up in 1 mile. What we're going to expect is that we're going to make a slight left turn, and then we're going to come back inbound right turns. This is a teardrop entry. It doesn't really matter what entry you use. Typically, you just want to minimize the amount of turning that you do. As long as you're on the hold side of the fix, that makes it legal. You're legal in that case. So, center that heading bug. Okay, Zolji, 0.3 miles. I am flying this faster than I probably should. I'm flying this not at 90 knots, but I'm flying this at 104. One of the reasons why is just for the sake of time in the sim here, but 90 knots would be the correct thing to do. All right, so here comes the Zolji hold. Slight left turn. And then we're going to turn back inbound. So once we're back in, pointed inbound, we'll let them know we're inbound Zolji in the hole. We're established in the hold at Zolji, and then tell them we want the ILS runway 20 into Bremerton, starting at Wumox. Now, instrument flying takes longer in some cases than VFR flying, right? So we got to watch our fuel. We burned quite a bit of fuel. As a matter of fact, what's it tell us that we burned? We've used 5.8 gallons already. There's 39 left, it says. And so this is not a straight line operation, but this is how we operate when we don't have visual flying available to us, and we have to fly.
November 7 Delta Juliet, contact departure.
Okay, so here comes this right turn that's coming
to departure, November 7 Delta
Juliet. That right turn is going to take us all the way back to Zolji, and we can tell them once we are pointed back at Zolji on the inbound course, we can tell them we're established in the hold.
Albuquerque departure, November 7 Delta Juliet, passing 7,000 feet altitude, climbing flight level 200.
Okay, so here we are, making that right.
November 7 Delta Juliet, Albuquerque departure, radar contact.
Okay, making that right turn to get on the inbound of 053.
Next ground, November 8351 Papa at Jackson Hole Flight Services.
November 8351 Papa, roger, are you ready for taxi? November 8351 Papa, are you ready for taxi?
Affirm, we are ready for taxi, November 8351 Papa.
November 8351 Papa, runway 19er taxi via Alpha.
Runway 19er taxi via Alpha, November 8351 Papa.
November 41376, contact NorCal approach 121.3.
21.3, 41376.
Alright, here we come. You see that CDI is coming in. It's going to be that, finish that right turn, put us on the track 053 inbound Zolji. We'll tell them that we're inbound, or tell them we're
NorCal approach for your 41376, level at 6,000.
That's how we're going to do it.
November 41376, NorCal approach, Monterey altimeter 3037.
3037, 41376.
November 6378, Mike, are you going to need much longer in the hold?
Negative. 6378, Mike is established in the hold at Zolji. We'd like to request the ILS runway 20 into Bremerton.
November 6378, Mike, clear direct Womex, cross Womex at or above, or correction, cross Womex at 4000, cleared ILS 20 approach.
Cleared direct Womex, cross Womex at 4000, cleared the ILS 20 into Bremerton, 6378, Mike. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to hit heading bug like this. We're going to go into heading mode on the AP. We're going to quickly hit proc. We're going to
November 7 Delta Juliet, contact Albuquerque Center, 134.6.
ILS 20.
134.6, November 7 Delta Juliet.
We'll set the minimums later. We're activating the approach now. Direct Wumox has been activated. I'll hit nav mode again. Now we're turning toward Wumox. Okay, our procedure has been set up. Let me go ahead and go over and show you on the flight plan. Okay, that's Wumox, then a procedure turn, and then back to Wumox, and then inbound. So that's
November 7 Delta Juliet, Albuquerque Center, Clement maintains flight level 400.
And now let's go ahead and reset our tablet. Procedure, approach, ILS runway 20, Wumox, add to route. Okay, boom, there we go. We are headed direct Wumox, and then you can see here, I'm gonna, you can see the blue line here is the procedure turn outbound. So we're gonna go out, we're gonna make left turn onto 332, and then we're going to swing around to the right to get back on the approach course of 197 back to Wumox. And once we're cross Wumox outbound, That says 3,500, but we're going to cross at 4,000.
Norcal approach, Warrior 41376, request.
Once we're outbound
November 41376, go ahead.
Descend at 3,000.
41376, we'd like to do the RNAV Yankee to runway 28 left into Monterey if possible.
Inbound 197.
November 41376, cross Salinas at 6,000, cleared RNAV Yankee, runway 28 left approach, advise current with information Victor.
That's when we'll see the
Alright,
glide
cross
slope
Salinas
come
at 6,000, clear for the RNAV Yankee 28 left, and we've got Victor at Monterey, 41376.
All the way down. Okay? Lots to think about, lots to do, but we're going to stay ahead of the airplane here. Now, I'm going to be going at normal cruise speed until we're 3 miles from Umax, then I'll slow to my approach speed of 90. Okay? Okay. Okay. So far, so good. Uh-oh. Somebody's taking up the frequency. Kenneth. How's everybody doing out there? Hanging in with me? Okay, let's do our before landing checks. That's a good thing to do, so make sure seat belts are good. I don't really have seat belts in this thing, but the seat feels pretty good. We're going to do our Florida door checks real quick. So, oh, hang on a second. We're going to go into performance mode. Florida door here. Okay, fuel tanks both. Fuel shutoff is in. Mixture is lean for 4,000. Remember, before we descend, we're going to go and push that mixture rich. Our first descent point is going to be once we cross Umax outbound. So we'll go ahead and go mixture full rich once we cross Umax outbound. And remember, 3 miles from Umax, we're going to go 90 knots. Across Umax, mixture is rich. We start our descent outbound, and then procedure turn back inbound. Okay, Florida, continuing Florida door. Fuel, both. Fuel selector is in. Mixture is lean as expected. Flaps are up. Over here to the lights. Lights are as required for landing. Master is on. Standby is armed. Keys are in both. Seat belts fastened. Let's take a look here, make sure. Engine instruments are in the green. Plenty of fuel on board, positive amps. Alright, let's make sure we miss anything. Check our checklist here. Mixtures required, autopilot off. That's before landing. Well, let's see. Descent here, power is required, mixture, right. ATIS AWAS received. We got the latest altimeters. CDI, FMS, and GPS review and brief. We're going to talk about the approach. We'll talk about the missed approach here, and that'll finish our briefing. Remember, it's an ILS approach. We're going to be flying this on green needles. We can choose when to transition to green needles. It has to be sometime before the final approach fix. I'm going to decide to stay on magenta needles. My decision is to stay on to magenta needles until we are back inbound on the approach course toward the final approach fix inbound. At that point, we will go ahead and go to green needles. And then fly the green needles all the way in. Let's see, fuel selector both flaps is required. Okay, before descent checklist has been completed.
Denver Center, TBM
911, our pre-landing checklist.
IFR to Romeo, India, Lima.
November 91906, Golf, Denver Center, clear to the Rifle Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 6,000, departure frequency 120.47, squawk 4424, hold for release.
Let's go ahead and brief the missed approach procedures
November 91906, Golf, clear to Rifle Airport as filed, climb maintain 6,000.
Go ahead, turn tap back on
4424, hold for release,
missed. So if we
November 91906, call feedback correct, advise number 1 for departure, change to advisory frequency approved.
So our minimums are going to be 650. I'll go ahead, I'm actually going to go ahead timer ref, and I'm going to set those now. Okay, 650. We've set that. Minimums are set at 650. Minimums are actually 642. Half a mile visibility. It's a decision altitude. So if we hit 642 and don't see the runway, we go missed immediately. Here are the published procedures. Climb to 4,000 on heading 197, which is the inbound heading. And oil and Vortac radial 346 to Caro intersection. Okay, so here is the... okay, so we're going to do 197, intercept the 346 radial, and then hold at Caro. That's going to be the missed approach procedures. So again, we're going to fly that 197 heading, flying that to 4,000.
Olympia ground, Cirrus 90943 Charlie. I'd like to pick up my IFR clearance to Payne Field.
To the Caro intersection and hold at 4,000. Okay, that is the missed approach.
November 90943 Charlie, Olympia ground clear to the Payne Airport by the Yelm 5 departure. Radar vectors to the Olympia VOR, then as filed. Maintain 3,000, expect 6,000 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency
so
120.4, squawk 7254.
Activity out here. It's still, you know, visual.
Clear to the Payne Field via the Yum 7 departure. Radar vectors to the Olympia VOR, then as filed. Climb 3,000, expect 6,000 10 minutes after departure. Squawk 7254, and my next frequency is 120.4.
So your departure frequency is 120.4, not your next frequency, and it's the Yelm 5 departure, not the Yelm 7 departure.
Affirmative. Departure frequency 120.4 and the Yelm 5 departure, 43 Charlie.
November 90943 Charlie, read back, correct. Walker 2049, contact Denver approach 126.1.
All right. So here we are. Here, I'll get you a view here real quick. Alright, so here we are, just passing KPWT. We're headed at WUMOX. WUMOX is now in 6 miles. Remember, at 3 miles from WUMOX, I'll bring it down to 90 knots.
Denver approach, Walker 21st 17.5 to cross Rams.
We're going to start the
17,000 with Oscar.
3,000.
Walker 2489, Denver approach, Centennial, altimeter 2979er.
So
expect visual approach, runway 17 left.
Bug that heading.
Expect the visual approach, 17 left, 21st 9.
Jackson Tower, November 8351 Papa, short of runway 19.
Give it a little bit more RPM.
Ready for IFR departure.
November 835 Papa, Jackson Tower, runway 19er, quick for takeoff.
Now you can see
runway 19er, clear for takeoff, November 8.
11 knot crosswind. We come back. I expect it to probably be the other way, obviously. And what we're hoping is we'll see that wind decreases a little bit as we get down.
November 312 Whiskey Golf, Oakland Center to send pilot's discretion, maintain flight level 200.
Okay.
Or 2 Whiskey Golf, actually, let's make it pilot's discretion 10,000. Monterey altimeter 3037. Monterey altimeter 3037. Walker 2049, depart Prong, heading 170, vectors to the airport, descend and to maintain 1,000.
For Bremerton, so when we're told that we can switch...
Depart Prong, heading 170, to maintain 1,000, 9.
Okay, 3.2 miles to WUMOX. Alright, there's 3 miles, so go ahead. As promised, we're going to go ahead and bring those RPMs back. We'll do about 2,100. We're going to watch that speed come down to 90 knots. And we know that RPM always kind of slips a little bit, so goose it up just a little bit here. Okay, WUMOX outbound, descend 3,000. Remember, as we start that descent, we're going to cross WUMOX. We're going to start the descent. We're going to go mixture full rich. Run our descent checklist, yeah? Then it's going to be the outbound procedure turn. Once we come back and we're on the final approach course back, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to descend to 2,500 across WUMOX, and we're going to go to green needles. So we need to make sure that our green needles are ready to go. IPWT, make sure that lines up with what we see here. Localizer, IPWT 111.1. That's good. What else would we want to know?
Olympia ground, Cirrus 90943 Charlie at SBO2, ready for taxi, IFR departure with information echo.
.4.
November 90943 Charlie, Olympia ground, runway 17, taxi via Echo Bravo.
And I'm going to go ahead and hit...
taxi via Echo Bravo, runway 1743 Charlie.
November 835 on Papa, contact Salt Lake Center.
See that? Look at that.
Contact Salt Lake Center, November 835
VOR as our nav2, which is a good thing to have if we have to go missed. I don't want to go missed. We're not trying to go missed, but if we have to go missed, it's a good thing to have. So that's good situational awareness. WUMOX now in 0.3 miles. Okay, we ready for a descent.
November 835 on Papa, Salt Lake Center radar contact. Say your altitude again. You're cutting in and out.
Bring that throttle back. VS mode minus.
November 5 on Papa, roger.
There we go. And we want to be descending at 600 feet a minute, and we want
Walker
to be
2049, descend to maintain 8,000.
knots, so we're setting the RPM to do that. Remember, we're going to
maintain 8,000.
Push mixture full rich. There we go. Okay, mixture is rich. What else are we doing during our descent? Power as required. We're going to be power to maintain 90 knots. Mixture as required. We riched it. ATIS and AWAS received. Altimeters are 3024. We got that off the phone. CDI, FMS, GPS. Remember, we're staying magenta needles until we're back inbound. Then we're going to go green. Okay? Fuel selector both. And lights as required, or flaps as required. We're not at the final approach fix. This was the initial approach fix. Flaps don't go down until we cross the final approach fix and we have a live glide slope. Okay, all right. Well, we're going a little fast here, 97 knots. We're going to slow it on down. Okay, slow it down to 90 knots. Now we've got 300 feet to go till the altitude for this phase of the approach. We're outbound 017. Let's go ahead and take a look over here at our MFD and make sure we understand what's going to happen next. It's going to be a procedure turn outbound to 0. Oh. Nuts. Did I get that wrong? You know, I may have done. No, I crossed the WUMOX intersection. No, that's fine. 3,000, that's fine. We're going a little slow. Let's goose that RPM. That's because we reached 3,000 and I didn't recognize it. Reached 3,000 and I was too busy navigating and I didn't aviate. Aviate, navigate, communicate, my friends. And look at this, look at this. We actually are in crappy weather. Good thing we had this instrument approach, don't you think? Okay, 2100 here. Oh, we are actually at 017. Derp, sorry. Yeah, I was allowed to descend to 3,000. That's what the approach plate says. That was correct. Okay, so here we go. And remain within 10 nautical miles of WUMOX. We're 6 nautical miles away, it looks like. Let me see if that's true. How far away are we? We're 5 miles. Okay, so it's going to be left turn. And that's a left turn outbound 332. Let's center that heading bug. Okay, there's that left turn. Outbound 332. We're staying on magenta needles. We're going to turn back in, staying at 3,000 feet throughout the turn. And we're going to stay at 3,000 feet until we're established on the inbound course 197.
Walker 2049, Clear Centennial Airport, report the field in sight.
We're going to start a descent to 2,500 across the box, and we're going to go green needles. So remember, when we like to switch to CDI...
Olympia Tower, Sierra Center 943 Charlie, ready for IFR takeoff, runway 17.
Number 9943 Charlie and Olympia Tower, runway 17, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 43 Charlie.
That way nothing unexpected happens to your autopilot. Alright.
Hello, Glacier Ground. Twin Cessna 6828 Echo on the ground at Glacier. Looking to pick up our IFR to Bozeman.
3,000. Starting our right turn, coming back around.
Number 6828 Echo, Glacier Ground, clear to the Bozeman Airport. Scott to departure, then as filed. Maintain 17,000. Departure frequency 133.4.
That heading that we want, we
squawk
we want that heading inbound is
6446.
197, right? 197.
Okay, clear to the Bozeman Airport via the Scott 2 departure, then as filed, climb and maintain 1717,000, departure frequency 33.4, squawk 6446 for Twin Cessna 6828 Echo.
Number 28 Echo, read back correct.
Feeling pretty good. Look at this. Not a whole lot of wind action right now at 3,000 feet. So the wind has died down. It's pretty much all heavy stuff. Winds aloft. So the further down we go, probably going to be pretty nice and easy. Our last ATIS that we heard was 190 at 8. So that might have been a little bit of a breeze up. Not sure, but that's still pretty good. Our final approach heading is 197, so wind's pretty much going to be in our face coming in. Not a lot of crosswind component. Should be a nice, stable, easy landing. That's what we hope for. We always hope for the easy ones. And coming around now, finishing up that turn.
Glacier ground, Twin Cessna 6828 Echo is ready to taxi. We've got the weather.
We're 6828 Echo, runway 20, taxi via
Very
Bravo,
nice.
cross runway 30.
This
20
CFFW
via Bravo,
whip
cross
is a
runway 30, 6828 Echo.
It's not really all that important. Okay, I told you what we were going to do, right? I'm going to go ahead and center the heading bug one more time because this is the heading that with the crab angle that keeps us, because there's 5 knots crosswind. So we're going to go heading mode. We're going to go visual or vertical speed down 600 feet per minute. Lower that throttle. I'm going to hit CDI, green needles. Okay, IPWT is active in the top left, course 197, that's the final approach course. I'm going to hit nav again, and now it shows, look, it's right there, you see it says
Number 9943 Charlie, contact departure.
That's
Over
good.
to departure, 43 Charlie.
We're on the localizer.
Number 7 Delta Juliet, contact, lost correction, contact Albuquerque, Center 134.32.
Per the approach plate, we can descend to 2,500 to cross WUMAC. So we're coming down to 2,500. We're going a little fast.
Still departure, 99 or 43 Charlie, 1,900, climbing 6,000.
Okay.
Climbing 3,000, 43 Charlie.
WUMAC. All right, let's do our floor to door one more time. Okay.
99 or 43 Charlie, Seattle departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 6,000. Climb maintain 6,000, 43 Charlie.
Alright, lights are as
Air 78 Mike, no traffic is over between you and Bremerton. Report for cancellation. Miss Birch, over in this frequency on the ground 122.2. Change to advisory frequency approved.
Change to advisory frequency approved. 78 Mike, thank you. Controller switch. Okay, alright. There's 2,500, so we're at the altitude we need to cross WUMAC. We're going to bring our RPMs back up to 2,100. Trying to fly this at 90 knots. Okay, we've got a 5 knots crosswind right to left. And 4 miles to WUMAC, so let's go ahead and make ourselves a call. Let's go ahead and call in. So it's 4 plus 6 is 10 miles to the north, straight in runway 20. Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike's on a 10-mile final straight in runway 20 full stop Bremerton. There you go. We'll call in again at 5 miles. Okay, we're going a little fast. We'll bring those RPMs down. We want to be flying this at 90 knots. Okay, next thing we're watching for, we're 3 miles to WUMAC. We're watching for this diamond to start to move. That's going to be glide slope alive. That's the call out, glide slope alive. When you start to see it move on down, we'll call glide slope alive. Once this diamond is between this dot here and the center line, we'll click antenna flaps. We'll start our coupled descent procedures. That's hitting the APR mode, approach mode on the G1000. We're going to watch for that. You'll see a GP here in white, and then when it captures, it's going to go GP over, or it's going to go GP. I think it's going to be right here actually instead of all. It's going to be GP glide path, and then we're going to go ahead and fly that all the way down. I will take control 700 feet above the ground, and the elevation here is, call it 500, so I'll take control at 1,200 feet MSL. Okay, 1.5 nautical miles to, or 1.6 nautical miles to WUMAC. WUMAC is the final approach fix. We're going a little bit fast, bring that RPM down. Okay, we're not going to need that tablet anymore. We're going to be flying this. You're going to be seeing just the airplane here, just the airplane. Okay, there it is. Glide slope is alive. Glide slope is alive. Checking again, IPWT. That's the glide slope we expected. 111.1. That's on the chart. on the plate, 2,500. We're losing a little bit of RPM here. RPM was drifting down while I wasn't paying attention. Okay, that glide slope diamond's coming down. We're going to have it. We're going to take action when it crosses between the first dot and the center line. Okay, diamond's coming down, flying 90 knots, 0.4 miles to WUMAX. And we're going to look over at our MFD, and WUMAX is going to be, looks like 6.3 miles, so we're going to be watching. Okay, there it is at the halfway mark. Flaps 10. I'm going to go ahead and push approach mode, just like that. GS, it just went green. And we're going to start that descent. We're going to try to descend at 90 knots. Okay, autopilot is in coupled mode, glide slope coupled, and on the localizer. We are on center line, we are on the localizer, we are on the glide slope. Coming down at 90 knots. We have begun descent. Final approach fix has been crossed. We're 5.5 miles from the runway. I am not going to look up. I am not going to look up until we have hit minimums. I will take it manual at 1,200 feet MSL. I will not look up until we are at about 660 feet, about 10 feet from our minimums. Then I'll pop my head up. If we see the runway, we continue. If we don't, we are missed and out of here. Okay, 5 mile final. I'll make a call. Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike, on 5 mile final, straight in, runway 20, full stop, Bremerton. Alright, what else do we need to do? We've done our floor-to-door checks. We're flying down. We know we're going to go manual at 1,200. We know we're going to put eyes up at about 660. We know that 650 is the decision altitude, so if we see it, we're landing. If we don't see it, we are going around. We got 120.4 on COM2 ready if we have to go missed. We'll make another call at a 3 mile final. We'll make another call at a 1.5 miles. Okay.
3 mile final, runway 20.
We got 9 knots headwind, 7 knot crosswind. Lots going on. Okay, we're flying a little bit fast. Let's go ahead and pull that throttle back. Okay, 1,500 or 1,560. 900 feet to go. 300 feet until I go manual. 800 feet to minimums. Okay, engine instruments are looking good. We're in the green. Fuel flow, pressure, temperature are good. VAC is good. Plenty of amps in the battery. Positive charge. Plenty of fuel. 100 feet till I go manual. 600 feet to minimums. $1,200 feet, going manual. A little left for lineup. Nose down. A little right for lineup. I'm using the flight director. It's kind of handy, actually.
500.
Okay, right for lineup. Bremerton traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike's on a 1.5 mile short, final runway 20, full stop Bremerton. Okay, a little bit left for lineup. Don't sink below. 200 feet to minimums. A little left for lineup. Speed's looking good. 100 feet to minimums. We're a little low. Alright, 670, eyes up. Yep, we've got it. Speed's down. 30 flaps. Trim out and push through. Runway is made. And it's all headwind, no crosswind. Very, very nice today. Okay, and nose up. Keep that nose up. Keep that nose up. And we are on the ground. All right. Permanent traffic, Skyhawk 6378 Mike's clear, runway 20, taxi parking. All right, let's go ahead and run our after landing checks. Flaps are up. Yep, mixture lean as required. Okay, we'll go ahead and lean out 2 fingers there. Lights is required, so landing and strobe lights go off like that. We'll go ahead and turn the pitot heat off. Trim set for takeoff. We'll go ahead and set our trim back where it should be. Looks like it's already set. And okay, we'll just go ahead and taxi over here. Oh man, and don't forget we'll close our flight plan to Bremerton as soon as we get parked here. I'm just gonna swing it right around here. Should need that much engine. Bruce is like, don't do that. And I'm like, okay. There you go. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and do 122.2 because we're kind of in a valley here, so probably easiest to...
664 Bravo, contact Salt Lake approach 135.5.
Alright, Tower 4136, confirm, clear to land.
Seattle departure, Skyhawk 6378 Mike, like to close our IFR to Bremerton.
6378 Mike, I for cancellation received, thank you. Who was calling to verify landing clearance?
That was 41376, from clear to land.
Alright.
41376, affirmative.
And shut down, avionics master switch off. Electrical equipment off, except for the beacon. And throttle, idle, and mixture to idle cutoff. And we'll pull out those keys, and master alt and standby are off. Ooh-wee. Wow. So hey, there we are. That was like, I don't know, 1/2, maybe 1/3 of the ACS checklist we did today, and it was a pretty big deal, all told, to do that. So let's just chat for a second here. As you can see, we did some of the things on here. We did some flight deck management, taxi and instrument check, before takeoff check. We didn't do systems malfunctions. We didn't do slow flight, no stalls, no steep turns. Plenty of radio communications. Nav and GPS nav, totally did that. Didn't do unusual, didn't do partial panel, didn't do magnetic turns. We did a hold. We did GPS and VOR or ILS approaches. We did approach to circling minimums and missed approach procedures. About half. We did about half. That's pretty good. And it's a long flight. I mean, there's just a lot that goes into this. So, anyway, that's today's check ride prep. There's a lot more to do in this world of IFR, but there you go. Pleasure to be flying with you today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be doing some more of this as we wait for my check ride date. When is it going to be? Nobody knows. Kind of hoping that I can be instrument rated in 2023, but if not, it'll be a great New Year's present. Okay, everybody, great to have you here, and we will see you next time.